Countries that make tremendous economic growth build their foundation on food production for self-sufficiency and export. Commodity exports has the potential to leapfrog Africa into the global food sector and create wealth. But the challenge is quality and value-added deficiency. How can African countries surmount these hurdles and take advantage of the global food race is the main focus of this week's edition of Africa Weekly. And I am Charles Alpha, welcoming you to the program. And now the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly has opened in New York, aimed at building hope and solutions to the complex and interconnected crisis bedeviling the global community. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the world's largest diplomatic gathering for the 8th and last time under his administration.
President Muhammadu Buhari takes the floor for the last time as democratically elected leader of Nigeria. Going down memory lane, the president was emphatic that although the wheels of democracy turns slowly and bends too much to special interests that exercise influence not always for the general good, it however provides a government with the legitimacy it needs to deliver positive change.
As president, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent, credible election through which Nigerians elect leaders of their choice. As the 78th anger, there will be a new face at this podium speaking for Nigeria.
Nigeria, he said, has invested so much towards achieving the objectives and thanked partners for all the support provided the nation's electoral institutions.
In Nigeria, not only have we worked to strengthen our democracy, but we have supported it and promoted the rule of law in our sub-region. We have seen the corrosive impact on values when leaders elsewhere seek to change the rules to stay in power. We believe in the sanctity of constitutional term limits, and we have steadfastly adhered to it in Nigeria.
Describing the theme for this year, a watershed moment, transformative solutions to interlocking challenges as apt, the president reiterated Nigeria's full and resolute cooperation with member states towards urgently addressing the multiple interconnected challenges facing the global community.
We live in extraordinary times with independent challenges but enormous opportunities. The face of change can seem bewildering, with sometimes a palpable and unsettling sense of uncertainty about our future. Our strongest moments have always been when we remain true to the basic principle of tolerance, community, and abiding commitment to peace and goodwill towards all.
President Muhammadu Buhari said his last address to the General Assembly reminds him of how much has changed in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world, and yet how some challenges remain.
In confronting these challenges, we must also come together to defend freedom of speech while upholding other values that we cherish. We must continue to work for a common standard that balances rights with responsibilities to keep the most vulnerable from harm and help strengthen and enrich communities.
The president, who also touched on the consequences of climate change and the ongoing war in Ukraine, stressed the need for quick means to reach consensus towards preventing what he called global human disasters.
Nigeria is one of Africa's leading food production countries, but the challenge of poor quality of commodity for export has plagued the country for years. But that hurdle is now being cleared to enhance export potential of the country which other African countries can't learn from?
The European Union has since 2015 banned Nigerian beans into the market of any of its member nations. The ban was as a result of high residues of pesticides considered harmful to health in the beans exported to Europe. The Federal Minister of Agriculture said the exporter did not avail the beans for scrutiny before exporting it to Europe. Yam from Nigeria was also rejected in the United Kingdom and United States few years ago due to issues relating to packaging.
Before the ban, several unheeded notifications were sent to Nigerian authorities. To lift the ban, EU wants Nigeria to control her export and provide substantial evidence that the necessary food safety requirements and protocols are put in place.
The development has become a major concern to government, with the country being the world's largest producer of yam and beans. To this end, the Federal Minister of Agriculture set up a committee to review and suggest ways Nigerian agricultural produce will be acceptable in the global market. The report was presented to the Minister of Agriculture.
We've been able to carry out the traceability system, design it, come up with the NEPAF, the portal. We've also come up with a trader scheme to encourage the onboarding of people to participate and offtake the new process and protocols.
If our regulators and the private certification or inspection bodies operating in Nigeria are all accredited to the scopes we need them to be able to carry out the export control, then we have no reason to worry again about rejection of beans.
Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar said government is committed to Agro Zero Project initiative, stating that it would ensure best practices in food handling chain, robust linkage among stakeholders, and drive export in the agricultural sector.
I met with the US Department of Agriculture, USDA, and we discussed in their own case some of the bans. We were able to resolve some of them, and they have even issued letters to the ministry for some of the bans have been lifted because we were able to reach that kind of understanding.
The team recommended a synergy between Ministry of Agriculture, NAFDAC's Standard Organization of Nigeria, and Nigeria Customs Service in the area of quality control and certification of produce before export.
We are now being joined by the Director of Research, Planning and Development, Dr. Anthony Achuzia of the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Hello, Doctor. We are pleased to have you on Africa Weekly.
Thank you for having me. I greet the family of NTA.
All right, thank you so much. Now, what is or are the challenges with commodities from Nigeria meeting export standards?
Yes. Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, of course, our primary mandate, like most of us are aware now, is the prevention of introducing into this country exotic diseases and pests of plants, animals, and aquatic resources. Aquatic resources here means fishery department. We don't want these diseases and pests to come into this country, so we strive to prevent them from coming in. That's our primary mandate. And of course, with these commodities I mentioned, which is animal, plants, and fisheries, and their products, that's our primary mandate. I mean, this is just a preamble of what we do and our major mandate. The problem we have is that, of course, our act was signed by the presidency in the year 2018, so we are pretty young, but honestly speaking, we have gone places so far. The advocacy has been on, and me sitting on the seat of planning, research and development, I think we've made giant strides in trying to educate our farmers. I'm talking of the producers here.
We are talking, which are the farmers. We are talking of suppliers. We are talking of course, the warehouse managers, and of course, the exporters at large, on what should be done. It is standardization, which we are lacking. So the challenges we have with commodities, not that we have a lot of commodities that are passable through our borders, that can be acceptable in other climes, but the real challenge we have is standardizing these commodities so that they will pass through rejection in the countries they find themselves in. So we are working assiduously to make sure that farmers alike and all the stakeholders in the value chain comply with standards and certification. Okay, now, that's just the challenges we have now.
Okay, so now that you have clearly identified, problem of challenge of standardization, yes. What is the agency doing to tackle all of this?
Thank you. Advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. All right. We've been in so many fora trying to sensitize farmers and all stakeholders alike. And of course, they are keying in. The truth is that they know where we are. They should come to us so that they will get all the information they need for standards to be met for these countries that these commodities are going into. And some are complying. We are having them coming in droves so that they will kind of comply with international standards. So we are making efforts, and we will get there. Though we have challenges. Challenges that sometimes some of these commodities that leave our shores don't come to us. There are two ways these commodities go out. One, some don't come through us, maybe through the connivance or support of some other other sister agencies. They find their way outside. And some that even come to us for certification. What happens is that they will come for certification. At the time they go back to their warehouses before exporting, they would have mixed it with other substandard goods. So by the time they go out of this country, of course, they are waved down and stopped. And of course...
Okay, now, the challenges you have identified, do they also apply to processing of produce for export? And if they are, how is that also, being, sorted out?
When we talk of processing, let me tell you, there are a whole gamut of processes, if you want to talk of. Forget about products that are finished and maybe packaged well. Processes involve even products being farmed on the farm, how they are harvested, how they are now transported, how they are warehoused, and at the end of the day, how they are packaged out of this country or for export. So the whole process, we are working currently or planning to work currently, with the extension services of the parent ministry, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, where our staff will visit collaboratively with the extension services of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to farmers, to warehouse managers, even to transporters on the proper way of doing this. That's what we call good agricultural practices, so that standard operating procedures, of course, will be met before these goods are exported. So the processes, yes, must be done, done right, so that these goods will be exported properly, so that rejection is, of course, mitigated against. So we are working, just like I told you, we are still young. We are mobilizing, and we are doing all we can to make sure that standards are met. The word is the standard, and that is what we're working on.
Okay. Now, from what you are saying, you have said so much about what your the sector is going through. But since you have been there, you have taken over, as the head of that place. Tell us the impact the service has made in this direction?
The impact, I love that question, and I was expecting it. The impact, it cannot be overemphasized. You see, we have gone to that extent of working out 5 exports that we call it CVAC, export certification value chain. That is what we have worked on now. And of course, that involves the state government, Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, the producers, which are the farmers, the suppliers, and of course, the exporters. These are the 5 key stakeholders in export value chain. And the impact is that Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine, which has solely the mandate for exports, apart from the fact that we are at the point of entry and exit, which of course involves imported goods. But we want to emphasize more on export, because keying into the federal government policy, which of course wants to actually downplay the role of oil, which of course all of us have been, leveraging on. We want to now go to agro-commodities, which will fetch us more jobs, more food on our table, and of course increase the food economy in this country. And it cannot be overemphasized too that by so doing, they will earn foreign exchange. By so doing, the farmers will benefit because they will grow more or produce more for sale and to use on their table. So what the impact has been so much, and like I said, we keep on participating in various programs and workshops and seminars, where of course our key role is to advocacy, trying to make people come to know what we do, to know what the best practices definitely they will be involved in, so that their goods, they will increase yield and their goods will be acceptable wherever they are. We have a lot of commodities. The problem is not commodities going in. The problem is producing them properly, packaging, processing them properly, and of course exporting them. Rejection we have is not everything you hear.
Okay.
Rejection we have are so minimal, but take example when you take back of wood, which of course is banned, but some people, they use it for abo, if you remember, if you can recall. Some people will cleverly want to package this abo in bags and take away. And by the time they get there, they will flag them down and they, of course, confiscate or destroy them. And at the end of the day, they say rejection. Rejection of what? People may not know. But it is rejection on already banned items that people smuggle into other countries.
All right.
And that is the problem we're having.
Okay,
the problem we're having is that we want people to be aware of what we do and do things properly so that they will prevent this rejection, which of course spoils or damages the image of the country.
It's okay, Doctor, but just before I let you go, clearly you have so much to say, but
yes.
Because of time, I'll just have to let you go now. But before I do let you go, with the level of your agency work and efforts, what projection can you make for exports of commodities in the next 10 years?
Yes, we will get there, and I will keep on, hammering on that same point that I said that our act was just signed 2018, and we actually made giant leaps. With the sensitization we are given, and with the farmers keying into our programs, we hope that agro-commodities going out of this country definitely will increase. In the next 5 years, not even 10, there will be a substantial increase in the way farmers come to us and package things properly for export. So in the next 10 years, like you rightly said, a lot would have been achieved. And that is what we are working on. And we are not really backing out on this. We will continue to try our best. We will continue to sensitize farmers and stakeholders alike so that agro-commodities, of course, which is just next in line from oil, will be enhanced, and Nigeria will be better off.
All right, Doctor, thank you very much for finding time to be with us on Africa Weekly and sharing your thought there on Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Thank you so much for being on Africa Weekly.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
And good afternoon, viewers.
All right, that was Anthony Achuzia of the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Africa Weekly continues. The success story recorded by Nigerians in the area of agricultural biotechnology has continued to attract some African countries. Latest is Ethiopia and Mozambique, as delegations from both countries indicated interest to adopt Nigeria's biotechnology and biosafety policy.
Cowpea is all good.
Ivo Mocha is from Republic of Mozambique. She's savoring some Nigerian delicacies for the first time.
We were informed that this cowpea was produced here using new technologies.
Apart from cowpea, Nigeria also made breakthroughs in cotton and maize through the use of biotechnology.
We are leading in the area of biotechnology and biosafety space.
Mocha and other delegates from Ethiopia and Mozambique interacted with government officials and scientists on Nigeria's success story in biotechnology.
We have developed guidelines on gene editing. We are currently developing guidelines on synthetic biology and also gene drives.
After is to learn from Nigeria, to see what we have done, to see the advancement, and then to learn and then go and copy in their country.
Director General, Agricultural Institute of Mozambique, Dr. Olga Faftini, said the lessons learned from the visit would help Mozambique develop a strong biosafety agency with full autonomy.
We know that Nigeria has already succeeded in releasing the cowpea and the cotton, and I think that they have some good achievement that we can share and learn from them.
On his part, President, Biotechnology Society of Ethiopia, harped on the need for Africa to develop its own genetically modified technology to address food insecurity on the continent.
That's our package this week on Africa Weekly. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha. Thanks for watching.